This urban legend takes place in Japan. The protagonist, Rena Takahashi, is a hardworking single mother whose husband passed away in a car accident a year ago. To support her 8-year-old son, Takumi, Rena works as a manager at a supermarket. Determined to give Takumi a memorable Christmas, she buys a second-hand Santa Claus figurine. However, this seemingly innocent decoration soon turns her life into a nightmare. Rena found the figurine at a flea market. It was a finely crafted Santa Claus statue, dressed in a red robe and holding a small gift bag. The seller was polite but didn't say much, only murmuring, "They say it can grant your wish." Although it felt odd, Rena bought the figurine to make her son happy. That night she sat in front of it and whispered a deep wish from her heart.
I wish my husband could come back.
On Christmas Eve, Rena heard faint footsteps. When she opened the door, she was shocked to see a familiar figure standing in the living room. It was her husband. Takumi ran joyfully to his father, but Rena couldn't shake off her unease. Her husband's face was pale, and his voice sounded distant, yet Takumi didn't seem to notice. They spent what seemed like a perfect Christmas together. The next morning, her husband left quietly, but before he vanished, he whispered to Rena,
I no longer have a real body. I live in a frozen space where time doesn't move, no past, no future. It's filled with fragments of memories. I can see you and Takumi but can never touch you. Be careful of that figurine. Its price will tear your world apart.
Rena tried to ask more, but her husband was already gone. That same night, Takumi disappeared. Rena called the police, but there were no leads. The police began to suspect Rena's mental state, as all evidence suggested. Takumi had never existed. According to official records, Rena and her late husband, Kenichi Takahashi, had been married for 4 years but had no children. The loss of her son shattered Rena, but she refused to believe the idea that she was imagining everything. She was convinced the figurine had something to do with these events. Determined to uncover the truth, she started investigating its origin. After scouring countless sources, she found a mysterious antique collector. The collector explained that the figurine, called the Shadow Santa, was said to grant any wish, but at the cost of taking away the most important person from the wisher's life. He added that the figurine wasn't from this world and warned Rena never to touch it again. He himself had avoided it for years, having heard horrifying stories about its curse. Rena finally understood that her wish had caused her son's disappearance. Her husband's brief return was just part of the figurine's twisted plan. Rena returned home and confronted the figurine, demanding to know where her son was. The figurine's eyes began to glow faintly as it spoke in a low voice.
Do you want him back? What price are you willing to pay?
Tears streaming down her face, Rena replied,
I'll do anything, just bring him back.
The figurine responded,
This curse exists to gather the deepest emotional energy, despair and longing. That energy sustains my existence between reality and nothingness. Your grief and desire make you the perfect candidate. If you want your son back, you must take my place as the next guardian, finding someone else to continue this endless cycle.
Rena's mind raced, struggling to accept that she was now a puppet in this sinister game. The next day, Rena woke up on the couch to the sound of Takumi calling her. To her astonishment, her son had miraculously returned, as if nothing had happened. But Rena also realized her new reality. She was now the guardian of the figurine, bound to seek the next person who would make a wish. 1 year later, just before Christmas, a high school boy who had recently lost his father wandered into a flea market. His eyes landed on the Santa Claus figurine. Rena stepped forward and, in a gentle tone, said,
This is a special antique. It's said to grant your deepest wish, but it comes at a price.